Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Philly Fan Radio Podcast. I'm your host, John Myer, along with Dan Palmieri. And Dan, a win is a win against the Browns?
Yeah, win is a win, I guess.
First of all, Dan, everybody, we're going to kind of break down the game, and I want to go over some stats. By the way, I can't say I was impressed. Like, I'm thinking, man, we look rock solid because let me tell you what, here are the stats broken down for you. Now, the Eagles had a passing yards of 256, rushing yards of 115, and those are key. I'm going to talk about a little more of the rushing. Total 372, while the Browns had 144 on pass, just 100 on those rush for a 244 total in the game. Dan, first of all, let me get your immediate reaction and thoughts. What did you think about this game?
It was a hard one to gauge. I mean, with those stats, it's just so weird because they should have won. If you look at just those stats, you would think, oh, wow, they scored 30 points or, they won the game comfortably because they killed them in all categories. But again, this team just inconsistent, doesn't there's just no flow, no real. I guess when you get through the first quarter of the season, everybody says, "What's your identity? What's your identity?" I don't know about you, but I don't know what their identity is. I don't know if they want to run the ball. I don't think they want to run the ball. I don't know if
But
they
why
want to
not?
pass
They
the
just
ball.
got Saquon. I mean, seriously, why are we not? I'm sorry. We're going to discuss this in a few minutes about running a little more, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not decided on any side. They're like 50-50 or even like 55-45. Like, seriously.
Yeah, it's again inconsistency. I mean, there are some positives that we'll go over, but overall, the game seemed bland. And that's kind of what we brought up last year was the reason why. Well, we got rid of Brian Johnson for a lot of reasons, but one of the main reasons why is even Nick stood up there and said it was stale. And this offense feels stale. Now, I find myself in the middle of wanting to let it play out because this is only the second game in which they had all their starters. But I also find myself wondering, is this it? Because it's been the same offense type for the last 5 games. And, let me just put it this way with lesser players, without AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, without elite playmakers, we're not winning this game. That's what it comes down to.
Dan, I just don't feel comfortable going into any game that we are going to look good. I mean, here's a stat for you, right? Slow start, 3-and-out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall. I think 90% of their first series in the first quarter were all 3-and-outs this year. And we have not scored a single point in the first quarter. The only team in the NFL to not score anything in the first quarter.
Yeah, and this is a perfect example of what you really have been harping on is run the ball. First down, what do? You run the ball, you get 5 yards.
5.
Okay, so logic states, why not run the damn ball again? But no, we're going to pass the ball twice, 2 incompletions and a punt.
Incomplete. Incomplete.
I don't get it. It's just the play calling is so suspect at times. Other times it's great. It's like, oh wow, this is really a good call for the situation. But I mean, it's stupid. Run the ball. You get 5 yards. Okay, if you get stuffed at the line for your second down, then you got a 3rd and 5. But at least you tried to establish the run. People can understand why they ran the ball. It just
Yep.
it baffles me.
And you
Baffles me.
shouldn't give up. You shouldn't give up the run immediately. I swear we try it for like the first quarter, whatever it is. We start pounding it. I mean, Saquon stats, and I have them down here. What do you have? Like 18 carries, 18 touches for 47 yards, 2.6 a carry for a guy that's been
Mm-hmm.
averaging 115 a game. There goes it. We had 116 yards total for rushing for the game, and he's averaging 115, and we gave him 18 touches. Dan, I know you're going to touch more on that and why
Mm-hmm.
that is and why the rushing didn't work to it. But here's one that I just want to jump to is that we did a swing route out to Gainwell, and he had 3 for like 26, 43, whatever amount of yardage
Right.
for. Actually, let me pull up his stat real quick. Gainwell had 3 for 23. 3 for 23.
Yeah, most of which was on, like you said, that outside run. But you know,
But get Barkley out there in that outside run and make that guy. What's he bench 600 plus? Let him fucking go through him.
no, I completely agree with that. And that was the thing that got me was the entire game. Schwartz was pretty much blitzing. And even if he didn't blitz, he was getting
You
8
just
men in the
called him
box.
Schwartz, right?
Yeah,
Mr. Jim Schwartz from our old defensive coordinator.
yeah. I mean, I guess he still is out there coaching. Doesn't do a bad job. He's actually a pretty good coach. But
I actually I liked him, by the way. But anyway, go
mhm.
ahead.
No, but it was just they were loading the box. They had 8 men in the box. It was the first time all year that I can say that they're playing single high safety the entire game. They were daring the Eagles to throw over the top, which is why you saw some big plays from AJ Brown. Um, but you know, like you said, they were trying to run in between the tackles with Saquon Barkley, and they had 8 men in the box. So you got to get them on the outside. You got to be a little more creative with the run. One thing that I was clamoring for the entire game was why not run a jet sweep? They're loading the inside of the box. Run a jet sweep. Give the ball to a speedster. Give it the ball. I don't know Devontae Smith necessarily, but
He's
give it to
actually not
Jahan
bad. He would
Dotson.
have been He would have been perfect for the
I'm
jet
just
sweep.
I'm just talking about his size, really. But yeah, he would be
Well,
good.
and I get it. And he just came back from concussion protocol, but it's still at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, Jahan Dotson got involved. One catch he was targeted a couple times, but got
Yeah,
the ball one. At least he had a great one. I think it was like a first down afterwards. But
yeah, and the toe drag. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't sexy. It was a win. So much to work on. It's
wait. Let me do Nick's speech. We'll
oh
fix it.
Jesus. Yeah, he is so lackadaisical with his answers. We'll fix it. We'll fix it. Well, how can he fix something when he clearly doesn't have a handle on what the hell it is? So
He keeps saying we'll fix it, and it's the same things week over week. Now, Nick did own up that he made a couple of the play calls, all the ones that went horribly wrong. Now, is he taking accountability, or is he trying to prove that he still is valuable as a cheerleading head coach for the
Mhm.
Eagles, that he does make some play calls? I don't know. Is it 50-50 there, Dan?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. I think he's shielding um, a lot of the blame off others and putting it on himself to his
But he
own
had no
detriment.
problem earlier saying, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't make the call."
Yeah, I don't know. I just go back to last year when it was a Seattle game and Jalen Hurts throws that interception at the end, and he said, "Yeah, it was my play call." Blah 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 blah. Then we hear from AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts that, "Oh yeah, it was actually our play call. We called it on a whim." So he's trying to protect his players. He's trying to protect the guys, and it's good. That's what a coach should do. But don't go up there and lie to us. We know when you're lying. That shit may have been okay in Indy when you're an offensive coordinator, but that shit doesn't fly when you're in Philadelphia. We know our football. We know when you're sitting up there and you're fluffing shit, and that's why we have a problem with you, among
Well,
other
the
reasons. But
Eagles fans are like Santa. We know when you've been good or bad.
yeah, no kidding. We
I'm
we
sorry, Santa reference. A little snowballs can't miss that.
yeah, touche. That yeah.
Dan, let's talk a
19.
little bit more about Nick. Now, we're going to go back to the end of the game. It was caught that Nick was having some words with a fan or fans in the crowd.
Mhm.
You sent me a link this morning that the person who he was having conversation with owned up, jumped on Twitter or X, what do you want to call it, and
Yeah.
said, yeah. And then he he had him on 94 WIP. Dan, talk to us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, regardless, I, I don't want him engaging in the fans like that. Nothing good can come out of it because he has to remember the camera's on him at all times. So, what was the story yesterday? Or what was it, Sunday? What was the story afterwards? It wasn't about the Eagles win. It wasn't about how sloppy they were. It was about how their coach was out of his way and yelling at the fans. Now, we had no context. Nobody in the national media had any context. And it turns out, if you listen to this person, that it wasn't really yelling. He was just engaging and, back and forth, talking loudly. There was no like disrespect or anything, but you're drawing attention to yourself. Nothing good can come out of it. Nothing good can come out of you talking to the fans and carrying on. And that's the way it is. It doesn't matter where you are. It just it's a bad thing and it's bad optics. And I guarantee all the players had his support saying, we would be that way too, blah, 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 blah. And I understand the fans were probably like, other than Fire Nick, it was, we as Philly fans get a little personal. So it was probably like, something stupid like, hey, you got a fat ass or something like that. Something stupid, But
you got a fat ass, run the damn ball.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's just stupid shit like that. But I guarantee Lori had a conversation with him and said, listen, you can't be doing that shit. And that's just the way it is.
Dan, the perception that it looked like, and you put it right on there, is that there was nothing in there in the reports. And in fact, I think I saw it on Sunday night and Monday Night Football that Nick was having some words with the fans, and it looked like it was controversy, right? It was not an engaging conversation. The report was the fan early in the first series or the first drive in the quarter said, we ran the ball, got 5 yards, 2 incompletes, run the damn ball. And then he said some other choice words, which Philly fans, I'm sure you did, later in the game when they started to run a little bit more. But if you look at the stats, it really wasn't that big. I mean, 116 yards total. He said, basically, we ran the ball. Like, how do you like it? Base. And the whole thing about it was, Nick, stay away from the fans, regardless of what, unless you're on the bench going, yeah, and hyping up the crowd. Knock it off.
Yeah, you can't. Here's the situation. You cannot engage in the fans like that, especially after you just won 20-16 against a team that looks like they couldn't beat a high school team. I mean, Deshaun Watson is done. Can we just admit, everybody says, he's done. He's cooked. He needs a massage. He's out of the league. Get him out. It's so stupid. He's done. He's cooked. He needs a rub down, and he needs to be, exiled. I feel bad for the Cleveland fans. I do, because he's garbage.
Are the Browns really that bad? Because they're 1-4. Well, 1-5 now, whatever. And going off, if you look at their streak, they lost to Dallas the first one, 33-17, to 2 possession there. They won against the Jaguars, but that's like beating up 2 bad teams, I guess. It was a 1 possession, 21-15 against the Giants. And oh my God, it's a 20-16 against the Raiders. Wait, isn't that how they just ended with the Eagles? Seriously. And the Commanders 34-13. That was kind of like the first one. And now obviously 20-16 against the Eagles. They're so close. And the only reason they stayed in this was the block punt and running back with McLeod. So
yeah, it's true.
That was the only horrible, especially. Are the Browns really that bad, or are they just playing bad teams and they just, so close?
So yeah, that's what it comes down to, is the Browns played and they beat, they lost to the Raiders. And when we think of the Raiders, we think of a dysfunctional team. They lost to the Giants. We think of a dysfunctional team. They beat Jaguars, and we know the Jaguars, they're probably going to fire Doug in season.
I'm thinking that a couple more games and
they got cooked by Dallas, and they got cooked by Washington.
I think when it comes cooked by them, because it was like 34-13. Okay, 3 possession on it. All right, maybe a little bit.
But I mean, when we thought of the Eagles this season, we thought of a Super Bowl contender. We thought of an offense that wasn't going to be stopped. The only way the offense was going to get stopped is by themselves. And it just doesn't look that way. It hasn't looked that way the entire season. Their offense looks mediocre, and it's just we expected more, and we're not getting that. So when I say that we squeaked by a bad team, I mean pretty much what everybody else was saying. I mean, the line fluctuated, but we were giving them 8.5, 9.5 points. So Vegas was thinking we'd blow them out. We should have gone in there. We should have blown them out, and we should have saw Kenny Pickett in the fourth quarter because we just had him blown out. That's just the way it is. We just can't win anything comfortably. And it goes back to the fast starts. We cannot go 3 and out. We cannot not score in the first quarter. It's such an odd stat to think that we haven't scored a single point in the first quarter. I mean, you can say, oh, bad starts, but it takes some real skill to not be able to score a goddamn point in the first quarter.
Only Philly can bring those skills.
Yeah, exactly. Impressive.
Dan, I think here's what I think with the offense, and then we'll turn over to the defense, is that teams have us figured out. We have still vanilla play calling for the second year in a row. I don't think we're doing some key things and some tricks. I mean, I look at the Lions-Dallas game and how the Lions beat the crap out of the Cowgirls, and they were doing freaking all kinds of trick plays throughout it, gimmick gadget plays, still why they were beating the crap out of them. It was like, no matter what, they're like, hey, let's test this out. How about we throw it to you, throw it back, throw it forward, and throw it downfield? And serious, how comes we're not doing a little bit more to disguise some things, change it up, switch it around? No, we've got the same RPO that's going out, and there's nothing that, I think the defenses have us figured out from here on out. We're on luck and hope.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because when I was watching the what I could catch coming home of the Lions and Dallas game, tell me that the Lions didn't look like they were having fun.
Oh my God.
I mean,
they were enjoying themselves. They're like, we're just going to keep scoring.
Yeah, the offense looked fun. It looked inventive. Why don't we see that? I mean, Kellen Moore, it's just not working. It isn't. I mean, as of right now, it's not working. I really hope that they turn things around. We actually have some not fluff games. We do have some lighter opponents, other than Cincinnati coming up. So I think this is a good time to get yourself right. But as an Eagle fan right now, I can't say with any confidence that we are going to get ourselves right. There's just been nothing that's saying that we're going to do that.
So, at least on the offensive side of the ball, I haven't seen improvements. But Dan, I'm going to give the defense some props for this game. I think they looked good. I think I want you to talk more about Cooper DeJean in a few moments, but Quinan Mitchell was good. Slay's out, a little bit of a knee injury that's happening. We'll talk injuries in a second. Who's the other one oh my God.
Goddard.
Yeah, well, so let's talk injury. Goddard's out hamstring, Malata's out hamstring, and Slay's out with knee. Well, I'm assuming the two will still be out with their hamstrings. Those take a little bit to heal, a couple weeks, at least the reports from Malata. Slay, who knows, but do you think his time has come?
I do. I personally do. He looks slow out there. He just doesn't. He doesn't look good. I mean, last year he didn't look that good. This year he doesn't look that good. I mean, I even saw a stat, and I apologize, I can't remember the exact number, but out of a possible 134 cornerbacks, he was ranked 94th. And that's in terms of I think Pro Football Focus. But either way, he's just not there.
Did he post that stat? No, I'm just kidding.
And yeah, well, we could go on a rant about that, but I'm done with him. Personally, I'm done with him. I liked Isaiah Rodgers. I thought he played better. But
yeah,
I don't like Slay. I don't like his attitude. He's not the elite player we had.
But what changed
ago.
for you from last year to this year? Because I think we were all on board that Slay was really good, decent last year. It wasn't as good as previous years, but I think he's definitely like, what changed? He's more cocky, less confident, but more me, or what?
Yeah, I mean, his play has regressed, clearly. Um, he's just slow out there. They are leaving him on an island, basically hoping that Slay's going to return to form, and it just hasn't happened yet. That and just shut your mouth. Don't post things on Twitter. I don't care about your previous stats because those stats are going to be inflated from when you were younger and you were in Detroit, and then you came over to us. And played really well in the beginning. So I don't give a shit about your stats. If you want to be called Big Play Slay, when's the last time that we saw a big play from you?
When was the
I
last
can't
time we
remember.
saw a turnover from defense?
Yeah, no kidding. That's just
We're not doing
that's
it. I saw a
baffling to me.
stat yesterday or something, and I can't remember who did it. Who got was it one of the rookies got a tackle before Huff?
Yeah. Uh, Cooper DeJean. Yeah, I
I
think
think
he
it
got he
was
got a
him.
sack. He got a sack before.
Oh, that's right. He got the sack, not the tackle. He got a
Yeah,
sack before him.
yeah.
So thanks for correcting me. I seriously, like, how amazing is that Cooper DeJean is up there before Bryce Huff, who I
Yeah.
he's hit him out. I'm definitely good with that. I think all
Hmm.
around though, defense looked a lot better. Obviously, if you nix Huff and Slay, everybody else is picking it up. Carter's out there. I mean, they're definitely doing a great job. And President Quinan Mitchell
Hmm.
for defense this time around versus the Bucks. Now again, we're against the Browns, so
Yeah.
I would like us to see what we would look like. Let's play the Bucks again and see how if
Hmm.
they've actually changed. Because to be honest with you, I think just like you said in the Lions, they were having a great time. Freaking Baker was having a great time. We need to be
Hmm.
back there.
Yeah, we need to, not just play better. Obviously, we want to play better. Where's the swagger? We don't have any swagger. The team is vanilla. The team is stale. Um, we got to start forcing some turnovers. We got to start beating up teams. And one of the things
The
I wanted
good
to
news
bring
is
up.
we didn't have turnovers, right? I mean, except for the block punt, but I'm
Hmm.
talking on, Jalen's side. So,
Yeah, and that's definitely a positive. I think Jalen looked good. He
yep.
looked like a point guard. He was distributing the ball well. We don't need him to play hero ball, and he didn't. So that's good. Um, but with the defense, one thing that I did notice, one of the benefits of going to the game really is if you pay attention, you can actually see these things that TV doesn't catch. Is they were playing a lot more, not necessarily press, but they were within 3 to 4 yards of the wide receivers finally. Quinan Mitchell was not playing 10 yards off. The only time I saw someone play 10 yards off was when they went into dime and Maddox was in there as their dime and he was playing off. And consequently, the ball went to the person he was guarding. I think in that instance, it might have been Jerry Judy. But regardless, I thought they played well. Schematically, they changed. I haven't seen them blitz this much. And it was actually pretty cool. Cooper DeJean actually was down in the box sometimes playing linebacker. So he's a tough kid. The sky's the limit for him. I really like our two corners. Um, I kind of wish that they would have made DeJean an outside corner because now we have to think about who's going to be the opposite outside corner for the future. Um, is it Isaiah Rogers? Is it not? But yeah, I like their corners. I was really impressed. I really was.
All right, defense definitely good all around for this. Obviously, some improvements, and don't worry, Nick, we'll fix it for you. I
I'm
think
gonna
Vic will.
I'm gonna have to do a better job. Is that
Yeah.
is that not Andy? That's like quasi Andy Reid going up there. He's like, "Yeah, guys, I'm gonna have to do a better job."
I'm sorry, Andy's got better play calling though, and some skills. I mean, do ring around the rosy and shit. Real quick recap on the offense. Hurts, he had 16 for 25, 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Dan, yes, you noted, and we mentioned no turnover. That's always a
First
skill
time in
because
a long time.
we were leading. Are we still leading in turnovers? And but all right, and we're
No,
definitely not.
We're
making
not
them,
leading in turnovers anymore because Dak Prescott gave away the ball, like crazy. But hey, yeah.
AJ Brown, 6 receptions, 116 yards, 1 touchdown. And by the way, AJ caught some sweet stuff. I mean, one-on-one coverage, and the arms were like all up in there, and he still grabbed that shit. Calcaterra, 4 for 67. I think he was heavily used because obviously Goddard out, hamstring. I don't know, Goddard, you keep getting injured, man, and I think that you need to do some things for improvement.
I got to
Devontae
give
Smith,
you credit real quick because you on this show and in private conversations, you've been on the Calcaterra train really hard, saying he's a really good player. I think he's going to be a good player. And I wasn't, necessarily didn't know too much about him, but it looked good. He looked good.
Dan, I got to tell you, Calcaterra for me, watching him in practice, watching him at the NovaCare, watching him in the pre-games and all this stuff, he just seemed more like better than last year. He was in there. He's very involved. And, obviously I was on the Covey train as well. I still am, even though he's injured and everything. But Calcaterra for me, I was thinking, definitely he's right up there with Goddard. He's not as big and as physical as Goddard, but Goddard's having a lot of injuries lately.
Yeah, and Calcaterra actually looked like he had some good speed, good hands. It's early, but I was really impressed with him. And, I applaud you for recognizing that because I really didn't see too much of him. But they liked him, obviously, and he showed some really good potential. So I think what it comes down to is if Goddard's out for an extended period of time, I really don't feel too worried about. Yeah,
They have
exactly.
Stoll too.
Yep.
Jack Stoll's back up, and they're using him in the mix, though I don't see much of him.
He's a blocking tight end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Devontae Smith had 3 for 64. Yes, I would like to have him a little bit more involved, and we're here shouting, why not give it to him in the slot? And, look, that guy gets it. Let him make some moves. He's got the speed to just I don't know. They have such key players between Barkley, and they tried to get the ball to AJ a couple times early. The passes weren't there, and I get it. They're trying to put their chemistry back because he was out, whatever. And they kind of got to that groove later in the game. But, you've got some key players. Just start hammering it to them and spread it out. Make the defense figure out what the freak are they doing.
Yeah, and if you're going to put 8 men in the box, you're going to do that at your own risk because they went to AJ Brown over the top. Yep. I'm just trying to figure out, honestly. We talked about it at the beginning. I can't put my finger on slow starts, but they dominated in kind of like what they did with the Saints game. They dominated in yardage. I just don't understand why they're not scoring more points. But I can't really put my finger on it. And it's frustrating for me because, we're at the games, we're watching this, and usually we can say, this is why they didn't score points or whatever. I think it's just this lack of execution, lack of play calling. It's frustrating. That's the word of the day, frustrating. Even though it's a win, I know it's a win.
We're Philly fan. A win to us, a crappy ass win, is just not good enough for us, and we keep seeing it all this time.
Yeah, and we demand more. We have a team that really, if you put it on paper, we stack up against anybody. So we want to know, as Philly fans, why are we not watching our team annihilate teams like Detroit is?
Nobody predicted that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff, yeah. But and I'm going to say it on this show, honestly, so we can go back to it. If we don't make the playoffs or if we get bounced and Sirianni's let go, I think Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for Detroit, is going to be our next head coach.
Oh, I'm saving this recording. I got to save this highlight. Dan called it in week 6 recap on the Philly Fan Radio that he is. Well, Dan, I'm going to hold you to that.
And I want national media credit if it happens.
Yeah. All right, everybody, we're here. It's October 15th. We're recording at 11:07 a.m. We'll get it out today, but Dan said this on the time. Dan, real quick on a recap before we talk about the NFC. and how well the division stacks up real quick. And I also have a news breaking report that just showed up in my feed that I'm going to share with you in a second. All right, time of possession, Eagles 28, 33 seconds with the Browns of 31 minutes, 27. So we had less, more points. All right, okay. First downs, 19 for the Eagles, 14 for the Browns. And I don't really care about the rushing passing on that one. Third down conversions. This is actually pretty sad. Eagles, 5 for 14. And the Browns, 3 for 12.
Mm-hmm.
Run the ball. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Why were you not making on third down? Because you got yourself in third and long constantly.
Oh my God, all the time. Now, fourth down conversions, 2 for 2, and we actually had 2 brotherly shoves in the same drive. It's like, screw this, we're doing this. And he almost didn't make the one, but he was right on the line. Pretty good. And I saw last night with Josh Allen doing the similar thing, but he went to the soft spot in the defense. There was like 2 guys, nothing. It was a wide open. He could have ran the ball up there. But anyway, so the stats kind of up there, stack up. Dan, real quick, let's talk about the NFC division. Cowgirls.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised. They have their bye week. I'm actually surprised. And I don't think it's your breaking news because I don't know what it is, honestly. But I think Mike McCarthy is a sitting duck right now. Unless he makes the Super Bowl, he's done. Because
the problem with Jones is that his hands are in everything, and he thinks he's gonna buy his way before he, and he wants that another Super Bowl. And last time they saw it was in the 90s. And if he would just step out of it and let people make decisions, I think they would be a better team, not the best team, but better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for anybody listening to the podcast, obviously, we know that you're not a Dallas fan. I really got to suggest that you see Stephen A. Smith's rant on the Cowboys because it was absolutely perfect. He did this whole birthday present to Jerry Jones thing. It was just absolutely
They got annihilated on his birthday.
It was just absolutely hilarious, and it's really a good watch.
We'll have to share the link. Okay, Giants. Well, Daniel Jones. Yeah. What can we say? They definitely, Giants look bad.
They looked bad, but we have them this week. So
division games are always tough, man.
Exactly. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit afraid of it.
Come on, Daniel Jones. The only reason he didn't win the one game is because the turf monster got him, and they came up and like
a sprinkler came up.
yeah, exactly. So division games are tough.
No. I don't expect a blowout for that one, but yeah, the Giants are not really that good of a team. They really don't have the horses, to be honest with you.
Malik Neighbors got their only one.
Yeah, well, Malik Neighbors is still out. I don't know if he's going to be back in time for this game, but we should. Let me put it this way: we should win. Whether we do or don't is another question. And I think that Nick, Nick is a very emotional guy. Obviously, I think out of spite, anybody that's been saying we're going to run the ball, I think he's going to give the ball to Saquon Barkley like 25 times in this game just because it's his ex-team. I think he's going to make a point to the Giants to do it.
The problem is we haven't been giving it to him much. Ever since the first game when he was in the 20s, what was he, 26 or something touches? We have he has not had over 20 touches since then.
Mm-hmm.
No, he had 22 the second game and went straight down from there. He actually haven't, so I'll correct myself.
Yeah, without A.J. Brown in the lineup in the last game, Devontae Smith. So you would think they would have gave him the ball more.
Nope. Well, they could have been closer because I didn't really think we had much of a deep threat. Moving on to the Commanders, they actually look pretty good, man. I think they're going to be one of the challenging teams to beat.
Yeah, it's surprising. But their quarterback looks really good.
Yep.
He looks kind of like what we saw C.J. Stroud last year. In terms of he just looks like a winner. He looks good. It's one of those, he looks like Robert Griffith did in the beginning. You just hope that he doesn't injure himself. But he looks like a good player. That team looks pretty good. I think it'll be a hard out. I mean, if you were to ask me right now, we're playing Washington tomorrow, and who's going to win? I'd say Washington because we're just not that good. But
Nope.
yep, we're going to have to get better.
Dan, before I get to my late breaking news, and it's probably all over the NFL now. By the time I get this out, people have heard from it. The Eagles play the Giants this Sunday, 10:20 at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Please clear your calendars, and if you didn't, you're not a true Eagles fan. We will be watching them beat up the Giants. Hopefully, Barkley running all over it. Now, Dan, the latest breaking news is that the Jets have just agreed for Hassan Reddick to seek a trade. That boy lost, like, if he goes the whole season, it's like $27 million. He got Rosenbaum, whatever, as his agent. They just brought them all in. The guy has not played.
No. His agent cut him. He has no representation.
No. Yesterday was reported Rosenbaum got him. Watch.
Drew Rosenhaus got him.
Yeah, Drew Rosenhaus.
That's
okay. Whatever. He just got him. Watch. Hassan Reddick.
But weren't you the one that said that he can't come back to the Eagles due to some kind of league thing?
I'm not asking him to come back. I'm just saying. He just said, yeah. So Hassan Reddick's new agents to end dispute. And 34 minutes ago that it just popped off. Could another be barreling? Yeah.
So, but who's going to trade for him? Who's going to trade for him knowing that he wants a new contract and all that stuff? And the way that he behaved?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. But apparently the Jets want Devontae Adams. So there's some renewed interest for Reddick. The guy hasn't played a freaking down.
Well, it is Las Vegas. So, I wouldn't doubt that they would make a trade like that.
Yeah, your number say right here, hires new agent and we'll meet with Jets tonight before the game. Oh, that was by Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. I pulled up a stat and it popped up in the corner and I'm like, what? They actually giving permission now?
Yeah, probably because that new head coach, the interim head coach.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a lost cause at this point, to be honest with you. He can't come back according to the rules, and I don't know how if you can ever bypass them.
I don't think that they would want him. He's asking for astronomical money.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody, it's time to wrap up the Philly Fan Radio. Dan, do you have anything you'd like to leave with our listeners? All two of them.
All two of them. Yeah, where's the third listener?
No, I'm sure our wives are listening to it a couple weeks later. Give us some stats, so we appreciate you listening. But Dan, I'm going to let you wrap it up.
Yeah, definitely. We have a lot to work on. Nick is under fire. As we know, the world could be burning right now, but
we'll fix that.
Yeah, we're going to fix it. We'll do a better job. I think it'll be very telling to see how we perform against the Giants. If we go out there and we start blowing them away, I think we turned a corner. If we don't, and it's another drag them out, grind them out game, then it's going to be more of the same. It's disappointing, but I think that's the kind of season that we're going to go into. You just hope you turn the corner at some point.
Exactly. Well, everybody, thank you for listening to the Philly Fan Radio podcast. I'm your host, John Myer, along with Dan Palmieri. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and notify because we're out of here.